I feel like this is going to be the image that like defines Trump's entire presidency. Don't you think? Don't you feel like this is it? This is Trump's entire presidency in one fucking image right here. Isn't it? Oh, Lord. I swear to you, this is our next 4 years. Like nothing more to be said. It is the absolute dumpster fire. That New Orleans story is really heartbreaking. What's even more bothersome is the right-wing media with just a huge onslaught of misinformation. Fox News going all day as though it's some immigrant thing, yada, yada, yada. All the right-wingers, like as soon as this went up, you saw like end wokeness. I mean, it's like they're on a schedule, man. They are so coordinated. Even Trump made a statement about immigration and the border and all this shit. I mean, these are scary times. These are Reichstag kind of times where anything that goes on, they're trying to make it this immigrant thing. I'm sure they're going to use it to try and eke out some more executive power out of the deal.
At least 15 killed and dozens more injured when a driver rammed a rented pickup truck into a crowd on Bourbon Street around 3 a.m., just hours into the new year. The FBI now investigating it as an act of terrorism. The suspect mowing down dozens of people over a 3-block stretch, turning the typically festive and iconic Bourbon Street into a deadly scene of carnage and chaos. Dramatic video capturing the moment police exchanged gunfire with the suspect. Authorities saying he died in that exchange. 2 police officers were also injured but are in stable condition. Authorities releasing this image of the 42-year-old 𝗙cie𝗶𝗪, an Army veteran and U.S.-born citizen.
The rented Ford F-150 pickup down Bourbon Street, killing at least 15 people and injuring dozens more.
He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
Well, yeah, no shit.
Tracking this disturbing surveillance video showing the pickup coming down Canal Street around 3:15 this morning before veering right into pedestrians.
We have dozens of people that got hit by this car.
What we saw was insanity. I mean, something out of a movie. The graphic nature of it, and it was unbelievable. We instantly counted, I'd say, 10 bodies.
Authorities identifying the suspect as 42-year-old 𝗙cie𝗶𝗪, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran from Texas. They say he was speeding down Bourbon, wearing body armor and firing an AR-style rifle out of the truck, racing about 3 blocks before crashing, then stepping out and opening fire again, wounding 2 police officers. Authorities say they found multiple homemade pipe bombs packed with nails. Sources tell ABC News on that flagpole, wrapped in that gray jacket, is a black flag bearing the ISIS insignia. Authorities looking at how the suspect was able to get down Bourbon Street, which is usually blocked off by security barriers.
Yeah, the barriers were not up. The barriers were down.
Multiple malfunctions, they were in the process of being replaced. There were vehicles blocking Bourbon Street, but as that video shows, the suspect went on the sidewalk.
We had barriers there, we had officers there, and they still got around. So we did indeed have a plan, but the terrorists defeated it.
And tonight,
the terrorists defeated it. I don't know why, but I can't stand the 70-year-old people in those positions of power. The terrorists defeated it. I'll be honest. I think they're lucky that a lot more people weren't hurt. Because, I mean, dude, the amount of people that were on the fucking street, Bourbon Street, that's crazy. That could have been like 100 people dead. I mean, not that it's a bright side, because it's not, because people dying sucks. But it could have been so much worse. Here's what we got about this guy. In a series of videos, 𝗙cie𝗶𝗪, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran who served in Afghanistan, made reference in the videos to his divorce and how he had first planned to gather his family for a celebration with the intention of killing them. 2 officials who had been briefed on the recording said, but 𝗙cie𝗶𝗪 said in the videos he changed his plans and joined ISIS, and referenced several dreams that he had about why he should be joining the terrorist group. Now, how do you join ISIS? I mean, that's what I'm intrigued about. Like, right? He said he joined ISIS. So what does that mean? He bought an ISIS flag and was like a part of ISIS, or joined ISIS? Does one just join ISIS? You like call a number? You know what I'm saying? You call a number and are like, you know, I don't feel like he was an actual member of ISIS, because yes, if it had been an actual ISIS terrorist attack, they would have claimed it. They would have like said something very specific about it. You know, he decided to conduct a terrorist attack in the name of ISIS, I guess. But the way they're saying it, he changed his plans and joined ISIS. It's not like you just dial up the yellow pages and are like, you know, there's an ISIS joining hotline. You don't just get online and fill out a form at ISIS.com and they send you like a flag and a membership card. You can't really join ISIS without some connection to that terrorist cell. But the media are talking about how he joined ISIS, but I feel like that's where it gets thin for me, guys. It gets thin there. Because you don't just decide, oh, I like the ISIS ideology and now I've joined ISIS. That is somebody then sort of trying to use ISIS as part of their own sort of warped sense of criminality. But that's not an actual like joining of ISIS. I don't really need to see those images of the dead people. See, I'll be honest with you guys. I am a little bit bothered about the constant bombardment we have of these images of, you know, dead bodies, burned children, decapitated bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not healthy for us to be looking at videos and images of maimed and shattered human bodies. That's like super traumatizing. Seeing a person get gunned down on video is like super traumatizing. It's bad for people's mental health. We are all being inundated with this kind of content over and over and over again. And I have a feeling that most people that are consuming this are not going to see a therapist, or, you know what I mean? Like, this stuff is really causing a lot of harm to our general psyches if you're not engaged in some type of acupuncture or tapping or you know, EMDR, some type of getting this shit out of your body. Like, this shit is harmful. So Trump's response was this. When I said that the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country, that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true. The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. That's such bullshit, dude. What is he even talking about? Our hearts are all with the innocent victims and their loved ones, including the brave officers. And we fully support the city of New Orleans as they investigate and recover from this act of pure evil. Now, let's just look at this tweet and dismantle this, because there's so much about this tweet that is harmful in our current media culture. Like, one is the entire beginning half of this tweet is all about the Trump narrative. He's not even talking about the incident here. He doesn't even talk about the incident or the victims or the people. He literally, half of the tweet is about his fake narrative where he's lying about it being immigrants, and he's saying it's some sort of immigrant. It's a U.S. citizen who was in the military for 10 fucking years. Born in the U.S., lived in Texas. But he's implying it was an immigrant crime, and he's spreading this narrative of the news media lying. And then he lies about the crime rate, saying the crime rate is something nobody has ever seen, which is a complete and utter falsehood. Crime is like 20% of what it was in the 90s. Crime is down significantly in every metric from even 2020. From his last year in the presidency. This is all bullshit. And then he finally goes to his hearts being with the innocent people, blah, blah, blah. And then the whole like ascribing it to evil. Now, why do I find this sort of pure evil rhetoric dangerous? Because this is that binary polarization they're trying to do using rhetoric, which is to target every bad action and put it under an umbrella of evil. But when you start using that language, he's talked about trans people being pure evil. He talks about Democrats being pure evil. Keeps lumping everybody in, which is like intensifying that whole good evil sort of biblical religious demonization polarization thing going on. That's like super unhealthy. There's no such thing as evil. There's not this weird evil force. It's people do bad shit. But this rhetoric of labeling things as evil is super common now with the Republican Party. It's one of their primary tools to try to lump everybody that they want to create as an enemy, or anytime they want to tie something into their sort of biblical, doing the work of God sort of rhetoric, they pull out that evil tag. It's not good, boss. But I swear to you guys, Fox News and Donald Trump are trying to establish this out of control crime. They want to declare some type of state of emergency. I would not be surprised if one of the early moves is for Trump to try to declare some type of like partial martial law. Think about South Korea, and we better have a good response for this, because right off the bat, Fox was spreading misinformation, part of that instantaneous right-wing misinformation campaign in order to drum up, you know, the state of emergency, like, immigrant crime.
David Spunt, he and R. Griff Jenkins are able to report that the suspect drove a truck with a Texas license plate that came through Eagle Pass, Texas, 2 days ago. David, what else do you know about this vehicle?
So we're hearing that the vehicle was traced to coming across from Mexico into the United States at Eagle Pass, Texas, 2 days ago. To be clear, we don't 100% know that this man, and we do know the suspect is a man, was the person driving that crossed the border. That is unclear at this point. We just know that the actual license plate was picked up by a reader at a border crossing. This is per 2 federal law enforcement sources. And the other thing that's not entirely clear right now is the status, the immigration status of this driver. We have heard, though, from President-elect Trump, who's going to move in here in just a few weeks. He put out a statement that says, quote, "When I said the criminals coming in are far worse than the criminals we have in our country," that statement was constantly refuted by Democrats and the fake news media, but it turned out to be true.
They're reading this. They're reading this fake shit, this fake immigrant crime narrative shit.
The crime rate in our country is at a level that nobody has ever seen before. Our hearts are with all of
Dude, crime was way higher. Crime rates have been steadily falling, and they're so low compared to what they were in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It was like way worse. But again, Trump is off on this fucking narrative, you know, filled with lies.
So we get some breaking news right now into our newsroom. I want to alert our viewers.
Now they have to correct
sources
it.
Now tell Fox that truck from Eagle Pass, Texas, did not cross 2 days ago. It crossed on November 16th. And the identification of the driver that crossed the border does not appear to be the shooter.
Yeah. So there we go. An hour later, after they say, oh, this car just came across the border, let's read Trump's statement about the border immigrants and about how the crime is so bad. And then what do you know? That truck came across the border almost 2 months ago with a different driver. Now, again, that truck was part of a rental company called Turo, which is a car rental marketplace. It's like an Airbnb of cars. You can make money by using your car, renting it out. See, the thing about this is it is irresponsible of these media companies to be running the news on speculation. And guys, if you look at what Fox did, that is not an accident. I mean, they specifically read Donald Trump's statement that had a paragraph about the migrants and the lies about the crime rate and the lies about the criminals coming across the border. They specifically tied that Trump statement to that false information. Specifically, that was a coordination of 2 very specific pieces to, again, create a false narrative about immigrant crime. Okay, so check this out. This is something I want to talk about. about like the brain dead nature of these conspiracy theorists, because obviously the minute these things happen now, the minute there's any type of violence, the right-wing media kicks up with some type of fake narrative. Normally, one of two things happens. Either one, they say the person was trans. That's normally the first run of it. When it's a situation like this, there immediately it goes to some type of immigration, right? All day today, they were saying that it had something to do with immigrants, that this rented truck had come through Eagle Pass, the right-wing disinformation machine. But here's what I thought was really funny, though, because we have this video, which is clearly surveillance camera footage on a monitor, but it's very clear that this is like a computer monitor and they're moving their camera following the truck. But look at what people were posting. Immediately, there were posts like this, where this guy says, how does the cameraman know what vehicle to focus on to show it to everyone? Out of like 100,000 vehicles passing down the street, they just happen to have footage of the truck. And not only that, but had the wherewithal to follow it with the camera, things that make you go, setup. So this guy's like, oh, the video, like whoever shot this video, it had to be a setup because they know exactly what's going on with this truck. But it's like, homie, the guy's like recording the footage with his fucking camera. You see what I'm saying? These people they're like not smart. Their critical thinking skills are so off, and instantaneously it erupts to like, oh, how did the camera know that truck was going to be doing this thing? It knew right when it was going to turn. Dude, now this is crazy though, because watch this turn, bro. Homie was like sprinting, and then it takes like a minute for the cop to even get out of the car. But dude, look at that though. Dude, look at the cop. The cop's like, oh. The speed with which the right-wing disinformation campaign starts. The minute an event happens, right-wing disinformation starts. And then by the time it gets corrected, there's like an entire false narrative out there that you know, you can't dismantle all those fake pieces. So it's the disinformation, the speed with which it takes hold, the lack of correction, where once that information is out there, they never go back and even apologize for it or delete tweets or even acknowledge. They don't try to correct it. In fact, oftentimes they'll keep putting out the false information long after they've been corrected. And then the other thing that's bothersome is the people that are consuming right-wing material, and a lot of people in general now, their critical thinking skills are so bottom of the barrel that we're pretty fucked right now unless we get some kind of media literacy. We are in deep shit. I mean, it's only a matter of time before AI is generating like fake videos. Yeah, falsehoods. We have this nonstop right-wing disinformation machine. It's relentless, guys. This shit is relentless, and it's concerning to me. Now, obviously, looking at the day in review, here we go. We're launching into 2025. Trump wins after a rhetoric of violence and ethnic cleansing and anti-woman and lies about immigrants, outright racism in his campaign, and just abusive language and roughing people up and all that. Day one of 2025, and it's just a whole bunch of violence. They're saying this guy who had an ISIS flag like joined ISIS. They're building these narratives. I mean, if you look at some of these right-wing accounts like End Wokeness, they're literally talking about like terrorist cells already. They're already saying it's an Islamic terrorist attack. They are trying to ramp this shit up, bro. right off the bat, dude, because this is all a part of a grander narrative that they're trying to build that is specifically about this danger from migrants, this fear of terrorism. It's like they want to set up for martial law. Cybertruck explodes in front of Las Vegas Trump Hotel, killing driver. FBI said it is working to determine whether the explosion filled with large firework mortars and gas canisters was an act of terrorism. The New Orleans attack is being investigated as an attack of terrorism. Dude. Oh shit, is that the guy? Is that a guy that we see flying right there? Oh yeah, it's this dude gets... Oh no. Oh no, that's not the guy. I see something fly right there. Maybe that's a piece of the Cybertruck. Jesus, though. So it was a 2024 Cybertruck was rented in Colorado through the Turo app. And it arrived in Vegas at 7:30 a.m., went up and down Vegas Boulevard before pulling into Trump Tower and exploding seconds later. They received a report at 8:40 a.m. The Cybertruck pulled up to the glass doors outside the hotel, started to smoke, and then a large explosion occurred. And the explosion killed the driver, who was the only person inside the vehicle. 7 other people suffered minor injuries. The department knows who rented the Cybertruck, and they're looking at the individual. And so they know who this is. It's pretty wild. Oh, shit, dude. Yeah, I mean, dude, I don't think that's an accident. All those gas cans and fireworks? Nah. But dude, what about the driver, bro? Homie just decided to skin up and just like, you know, self-immolation. Who was it? Was it Kim Guilfoyle? Was it? I mean, is she broken up about being shipped off to Greece because Don Jr. has a girlfriend? Was that Kim G in there? Dude, I mean, we haven't gotten an ID yet. It's possible. Yeah, dude, that shit is roasted. It definitely wasn't a coincidence.
The water was just falling from the ceiling, and there was one cop there.
It definitely wasn't an accident, right? Cybertruck at Trump Tower, like, we know. We know 100%. This is some good video, though. This video right here, that shit is premium. That was 100% intentional. I'll be honest, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some political violence during this term. I shit you not. The behavior that's happening right now with Elon Musk sort of doing this pseudo government takeover, and Donald Trump, you know, with him going back on the immigration shit, like, I feel like there's going to be some crazy fucking Republican that's going to blow Trump and Elon away. I mean, we've already seen that Trump is sort of backing off all his promises, and it's very clear that he's like standing with Elon Musk and the money, you know, Silicon Valley versus the Maga faithful. I would not be surprised if Trump and Elon are both dead before the end of his term. I shit you not. It's just his crowd. The crowd of people that they play to, these conspiracy theorist people, are just nuts, man. I mean, already a Republican kid tried to shoot him, and now it's just getting worse. We're growing, guys. We've had a lot of new memberships. I got to give that disclaimer again to the YouTube members. Thank you, guys. Seriously. It seems like every day we're getting new YouTube members, and that's a big deal, guys. It's a big deal. Like the YouTube community, I'm loving you guys. I'm loving the channel. And I want to give kudos too to all the people that are watching the YouTube videos. I appreciate the comments. You guys are having some really good discussions in the comments. I see a lot of, like, even though I know people are venting themselves in these tough times, I see a lot of positivity and a lot of hope in the comments. And I like that. As a community, I feel like we got to stick together. And we really have to sort of break out our awareness of like keeping an eye on all that negativity, because we are going to go through a lot in these next 4 years. This, right? This is our next 4 years, guys. Right? This is it. It's going to be a fucking train wreck. It's going to be, you know, highly unpleasant. But I feel like as a community sort of banding together and focusing on like removing, that negativity and those MAGA shitters from our environment and sticking to the resolve of resisting and staying aware, keeping the information coming, not falling victim to disinformation, checking your sources, doing your own research, and trying to stay as positive as you can in understanding that we're going to survive this. We're going to survive Trump. We're going to kick MAGA to the fucking curb. And we're going to keep building a better and more progressive future without that racism and misogyny and xenophobia. We're not going to be deterred by it. Even when they win little battles, we're not going down without a fight. And again, thank you guys